Hello, 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 friendos and friendettes across the internetscape. It's of course your friendly neighborhood Omega here, and today I wanted to do another discussion piece. This one about something that I noticed in the community, that being the YouTube community more specifically. This is something that I came up with a little while ago. I'm pretty sure people have reached this conclusion of their own independent innovation, but at one point I decided that among several YouTubers, many of which are part of Polaris, there is a trend of how they started their popularity, what video games they started out with, and how they basically grew to be these million subscriber plus channels that are pretty much dominating some of the YouTube markets. So the ones that I wanted to focus on were 3 or 4. In this case, it's PewDiePie, obviously, Markiplier, YummyMash, and Cry, or Cryotic. Now, these 4 follow what I call the PewDiePie Formula, which is basically, and I only say PewDiePie Formula as PewDiePie was the first of these 4 that I came across. And this was actually touched upon in Game Theory's video about PewDiePie and his links to Flappy Bird, the adoption of trends, innovators, and so forth. But they didn't really go in depth on what these early adopters of the PewDiePie formula basically did, and this is something that I figured I should point out for the vast majority of people who either didn't feel like they should go and research the subject at all, or just didn't care. And this might be seen as bashing on these channels' parts, so I'll stay away from anything inflammatory or incendiary. So, from a purely objective standpoint, what these people did, PewDiePie was the first example I saw of it, is that they would go in. Usually they started out with Minecraft. Most of them did. Most of them had some several videos of Minecraft. If you go back and check their oldest videos, chances are most of them have some kind of Minecraft video way back in their repertoire. It's very easy to find, but a lot of channels got their start doing that, so it's understandable that they would have those videos back in their feed. But if you actually go and look at some of their really early videos that aren't Minecraft, they also usually started out with horror games. Now, some of them started out using facecams, some of them didn't. PewDiePie adopted the facecam after a while, I believe midway through his Penumbra Black Plague series, I believe it was. You could correct me on that. I think it was midway through his Penumbra Black Plague Let's Play that he adopted using a facecam, and he went in and out of using it throughout that playthrough, and then he reused it once he started getting into Amnesia, and got some way through Amnesia. Or did he go through... No, I think he went through Amnesia first. I don't remember. Either way, it was either Penumbra Overture or Amnesia the Dark Descent that came first. He played one of those 2 games first, and then it was Black Plague, and that's when he started adopting the facecam. And then that went into doing Amnesia custom stories. Now, if you look at people like YummyMash, Cryotic, or Markiplier, you'll find that mostly these people did the same thing. Either they played a very similar horror game to Amnesia, or they started out with Amnesia itself and did a facecam. Now, Cry didn't do that because Cry doesn't ever show his face, but you get my point. Markiplier and YummyMash used those very early on and have pretty much been using them since. And ever since that point, they seem to follow this similar trend that PewDiePie does. After they play a few horror games, with or without facecam, they then move into doing probably Amnesia custom stories, or they will do smaller scale indie horror games that were either recommended to them or were sent to them by people who were making these horror games at the time that wanted some bigger, I'm looking for the word. Exposure, that's the word, sorry. I knew it was an EX word. Word escaped me. These people that were looking for bigger exposure, so they ended up sending their games or game keys into these 4 people. I just say these 4 in general. There were probably other people doing it. And they would play through these games, pretty much, and they would either do the reaction jump scare thing, or not the reaction jump scares thing, the reaction scare cam thing, or they would just basically have their reactions recorded, as in the case of Cry or whoever else did that. And usually, it's around this time that they start adopting voices.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Let's Play.
Hey, what's happening everyone? This is YummyMash. How's it going, Russ? My name is PewDiePie.
Now, this is another trend that I find very annoying, and I'm just gonna go out on... I'm gonna completely rant about this. I hate the use of funny voices, quote-unquote, to make your content more fun to watch, again, quote-unquote. I find it the most annoying thing in the world when people just don't talk in a normal voice. And I know I'm prone to doing it too, but I don't do it throughout the entirety of all my content. I do it for like a brief second, and then I apologize for it because I realize it's stupid. People like PewDiePie or Markiplier or YummyMash keep this running weird voice that they do that is clearly not their own normal speaking voice, and always use it throughout the entirety of their video because they think it's funny. Or they are very exaggerative with everything that they say. They're very bombastic, they're very loud, and they exaggerate all of their reactions to everything because it makes the kiddies laugh.
Yeah, no problem.
I will fully give it to them. It does get some kind of reaction out of people, so it's working. I personally hate it, and I personally hate having to listen to it. And what also ties into this is that a lot of the people that are doing this, or at least half the people in this example, I think YummyMash has an accent too, but PewDiePie and Cry both have accents, and it seems like your popularity, and this is kind of unfortunate, but your popularity seems to be directly relevant to whatever kind of fetching European accent that you have. This is very prevalent when you go look at other channels. People seem to like foreign accents, so PewDiePie gets points for that, apparently, and so does Cry. This is just something I've noticed. Because otherwise, I find myself personally off-put by their accents, or at least I did. When you combine the accent with the stupid voice, it just becomes unbearably bad to have to listen to, and you just can't deal with it anymore. Or rather, I can't deal with it anymore. So I don't listen to it. Anyway, these four people seem to follow that trend. And then further on down the line, after they stop doing horror games, well, they don't completely stop, they evolve into doing other games, and they start continuing to use the scare cam formula, except now it's just a simple face cam, gauging their reactions to video games.
How's it going, bros? My name is PewDiePie. Welcome to Watch Dogs. This came out today, so that probably means there's gonna be videos of this crawling all over YouTube. But don't worry, I'm gonna make the most fulfilling, the most professional, the most serious, the best graphics. So don't even bother looking further.
My name is Markiplier, medical doctor from Nicaragua, and I am here once again to save as many lives as possible.
I hate this because I find it the stupidest thing. Like, okay, I understand watching people's reactions to horror games. You know, that's sensible, because the reactions are obviously going to be big in those cases. Even if they are exaggerated, they would still be reasonable. But when you start doing it for just normal video games, it's clear that you are just reaching for something. You are just reaching to be funny or creative or trying to appeal to your audience, because at that point, your reactions have to be exaggerated, because I know I can play through almost any kind of game, and unless it's an incredibly exciting game, and that very rarely comes along, I'm just going to be sitting there, usually deadpan, looking at the screen, not a single emotion on my face. I'm not going to be smiling or shouting at the screen or putting on a stupid accent or voice and trying to make the game and what people are seeing on the screen more interesting than it is. It's the game, you are watching it, you are watching me play it, you are watching you're listening to my reactions to it. I don't like putting up a reaction face cam because there's nothing to see. I'm just sitting there playing the game. And most people are like this. I'm not just saying this from a personal standpoint. Most people, when they play games, are not spastic morons who are sitting there screaming at the screen when virtually nothing is going on, even in Prop Hunt. So when I see that, that's another thing they tend to do, and I also find incredibly annoying, because you can tell they're just reaching to try and get a reaction out of the audience by using their own reactions. Trying to make people laugh because their reactions are so over the top and goofy. Look at how wacky these people are. Ooh. And you can tell by what they're doing that that is the exact message that they're trying to give off. I hate it. I hate it. It's pandering to the kiddies, and I hate it so much. But it works. And that's the problem. With all the complaints I'm going to level in this long ranting argument video, I will say, more so than anything else, these people know what they're doing, and they know what audience they're pandering to, at least. Like, Hollywood doesn't know what they're doing. Hollywood makes stuff that they think focus groups will like. They do not make stuff that real people will like. PewDiePie, Markiplier, YummyMash, and Cryotic make stuff that they think people will like, and that people do like. Because they've proven that these formulas work before. They make funny scare cam video with bombastic reaction equals 1 million plus views and a lot of money. Okay, it works. I'm not gonna deny that. And yeah, I could do it too. The other problem I see is that everyone could do this. This PewDiePie formula that I've seen is not something that any other average YouTuber with a speck of energy and maybe on some Mountain Dew couldn't do on a Thursday afternoon playing video games. All you have to do is get a webcam, set it up at a reasonable angle, and psych yourself up a little bit, and then try to be as exaggerated and unrealistic as possible, and you could be the next PewDiePie. That's really all it takes. But you are losing so much respect if you do that, especially from your audience who's not used to that, so that's another reason I don't do that. Not to say that I have much of an audience, not to say that the channel does, but I would at least not like to give off that impression, that I am forcing myself to be more excited about something to attempt to elicit a bigger response from my audience. I don't like that idea. But it's profitable, so hello capitalism. So the other problem with this is that that formula has basically started creeping into every other medium of YouTube video production, and the reason I say this, I'm going to spotlight him here, Cinnamon Toast Ken. He is a good guy. I have no problems with this person. He's a fine dude. I really have no problems with everyone else that I've already mentioned, aside from their content. It's really only their content I don't like. I'm sure they're fine people. I have nothing against them personally. But in the case of Cinnamon Toast Ken, he does basically the same thing everyone else does, except he didn't really start with horror games. He started with normal games, and now he just uses a face cam to show off his reactions and exaggerate reactions because he's seen, likely, and this is speculation. I'm not going to say that he does this because he's seen PewDiePie do it or not. I assume that people like Cinnamon Toast Ken, and there are other examples, say Smosh Games, put up the face cam thing because they saw that PewDiePie was getting 25 million subs and realized this kind of works pretty efficiently, and hey, I can just get in front of a face cam and exaggerate my reactions too. They probably already figured out what I just mentioned, that you can get in front of a camera, any average Joe can get in front of a face cam, say whatever they want, be as exaggerated as possible, and just emote all over the place and be as histrionic as possible, and they can get as many views as they want, pretty much. I'm sure they probably caught on to that at least a little bit. I'm sure that has something to do with the fact that they use face cams for like every video game they play to display their reactions. And I won't say all of them are forced, you know, sometimes people exaggerate, sometimes people don't, but it just seems like a lot of the time they are forcing whatever reaction they are having to the game they're playing. At least that's in my perspective, because I don't scream at my video monitor when people kill me in a game or find me in Prop Hunt. I get a little bit excited, but I don't get anywhere near the level that these people do. So, with that said, that was basically all I wanted to go into. I wanted to talk about what I'd seen in the PewDiePie formula. I wanted to get that idea out there because it had been something that had been bothering me for a while, and I felt like I should probably tell people about it. Even if people already realize it, it just seems like something I should talk about, because it's something that is constantly on my mind, because the way that I think of YouTube, and Hayden has told me before that I probably shouldn't think of it this way, but I think of it this way, because I heard TB say it one time, and it got me thinking, like, yeah, that's kind of a good point, is that YouTube is a competitive marketplace, and as such, you cannot, you can't just not compete with everyone. That's not what it's about, because when you are doing YouTube content, when you are making videos, you are competing with everyone else who does anything in the genre of videos that you are doing, no matter how niche. Like, there are millions of Let's Play channels. Almost literally, there are probably thousands. And the fact of the matter is that if someone is watching another video on someone else's Let's Play channel, they are not watching it on your channel. That is minutes you are losing, that is views you are losing, that is money you are losing potentially if you're actually monetizing your videos and you have an audience big enough to do that with. You are losing, literally, money or viewership on your videos because people are viewing other content. So when you have to see other people, like PewDiePie, and I don't personally think they put a lot of effort into their videos. I don't know, because I don't watch their production. I don't think they do. I wouldn't say I put so much more than they do into mine. I basically do the same thing they do, I imagine. But I don't feel like what they do is 25 million or 1 million or however many million subscribers worth of effort. I don't. Not when there's so much other content, and there's so much content that's produced way better than mine, way better than theirs, that only has like 200,000 views. But that's kind of the way YouTube is set up. It's a cult of personality, and if you can be the biggest, loudest fool on YouTube, then you will get 25 million subscribers. You don't have to compete. You can just beat out everyone else. You can be that guy who starts the trust company and decides that you're just going to hold the stranglehold on all the oil on YouTube. I think that analogy got out of control. Anyway, my name is Ben Omega. I hope that commentary made you think, at least a little bit. And if it didn't, well, thank you for listening anyway. See you in the next time. See you in the next time? Words.